You all know that PVTGs, particularly vulnerable tribal groups. For example, recently there's a news about Jarwa tribes in Andaman Nicobar Islands. Jarwas. First time they got electoral voting ID cards, voter ID cards. The election commissioner in that place, the chief secretary in that place, have personally went to that Jarwa tribes and have given voter ID cards. This is an interesting news, right? So you need to follow such news. Apart from that, Jan Jati Divas, Birsa Munda, and any specific news. For example, in Orissa, in Niyamgiri Hills, there's a tribal community called Dongriya Khond. Dongriya Khonds. So they love their nature, they love their hills, and they have specific attachment to their hills. One company named Vedanta Mining Company, it tried to explore mining leases in Niyamgiri Hills, and they went to the court. They went to the court for their rights. And recently, you all know that there's a concept called subcategorization of SCs. The same thing might rise up in other states also for subcategorization of STs. Already in Telangana, there's a complaint from tribal community that Lambadas are occupying the lion's share with respect to reservations. Even that issue is flaring up. In future, it might come up with a very bang, good bang. Even all these things you need to actually focus on. Apart from that, you should also have some tinge over biology, some perspective in biological sciences also, and one or two perspectives with respect to biological sciences. I'll invite some professors from foreign university or online also, one or two lectures they will deal online. Okay, some that biological part, X chromosomes, Y chromosomes, Down syndrome, all these topics. I'll invite some foreign professor this time who is from India, who is preparing for anthropology there. We'll invite them also. And apart from all these things, good answer writing practice is very important. And for answer writings, in the previous batch, we have called 𝐾𝐨𝐰𝐧𝐥𝐨𝐚𝐝 was our anchor. She has taken good number of answer writing classes. Those recorded classes will also be provided to you. And whenever she comes to Hyderabad, she'll be taking live answer writing classes for you also. 𝐾𝐨𝐼𝐧𝐥𝐨𝐴, last year anchor with respect to anthropology optional. She has taken many important classes with respect to anthropology chapters, with particularly enhancing answer writing skills. Those skills will be enhanced to you also in future. So you'll be having orientation session with respect to anthropology class now. Yes, teachers, various teachers will come. Today, sir have come. He will teach you the orientation session with respect to anthropology, and I'll be organizing GS session also next. In GS sessions also, orientation sessions.
Anthropology. He's a senior doctor also. Now sir is going to deal with anthropology sessions. Right? And next, Umesh Reddy sir. Sir is also going to deal with few chapters of anthropology. Thank you.
Right, good morning to one and all. My name is Dr. Bonteja. So, profession paranga doctor and civils paranga I have given 2 times interview and 4 times mains with anthropology optional. సో ఆంథ్రోపాలజీ ఆప్షనల్స్ తోటి నేను రాసిన టైంలో చాలా రకాలటువంటి ఫేస్ చేసాం. ఎందుకంటే ఇప్పుడు మీకున్నంత మెటీరియల్ అవైలబిలిటీ అప్పుడు లేదు. సో అప్పుడు రిఫైన్ అయ్యాం అండ్ ఐ హ్యావ్ గివెన్ ఇంటర్వ్యూస్ వాట్ ఎవర్ ఇట్ ఈస్. సో తర్వాత వచ్చిన దాంట్లో ఏం జరిగింది ఏంటి అన్నీ కూడా మనం ఇప్పుడు మాట్లాడుకుంటాం. సో ఫస్ట్ థింగ్, ఇందులో ఎంతమంది ఆల్రెడీ ఆంథ్రోపాలజీ ప్రిపేర్ అయ్యారు? Somewhere you have given your lectures are already prepared or completely freshers? Completely andhra freshers ena? So based on that we will deal with our session. So ఎందుకంటే రెండు ఉన్నాయి, కంప్లీట్గా ఏంటో తెలుసుకోవడం ఒకటి, ఆల్రెడీ చదివి ఎందుకు బాపట్లేదో తెలుసుకోవడం. చాలామంది వేరే ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్స్కి వెళ్తారు, క్లాసెస్ తీసుకుంటారు, నోట్స్లు రాస్తారు, ఎగ్జామ్స్ రాస్తారు, కానీ అవ్వదు ఎగ్జామ్. సో దట్ ఈస్ కంప్లీట్ డిఫరెంట్ ఇష్యూ. సో రెండు కూడా మనం డీల్ చేద్దాం ఇవాళ, రైట్? సో ఫస్ట్ ఒకసారి చూస్తే అందరికీ తెలిసిందే బెస్ట్ ఆప్షనల్. ఎవరు చెప్పినా యూపీఎస్సీలో బెస్ట్ ఆప్షనల్ ఆంథ్రోపాలజీ. వై? 20% ఎవ్రీ ఇయర్ కన్సిస్టెంట్లీ సెలెక్టెడ్ ర్యాంక్స్. 20% అంటే ఎవ్రీ ఇయర్ నెంబర్ పెరుగుతుంది. నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ స్టూడెంట్స్ ఆప్టింగ్ ఫర్ ఆంథ్రోపాలజీ యాజ్ అన్ ఆప్షనల్ ఈజ్ ఇంక్రీజింగ్. బట్ even though the 20% is maintained, whatever the years, right? So ante 100 lo 20 ante 20, kan 1000 lo 20 ante 200. So the numbers are increasing and it is maintaining 20%. ila oka optional 20% success rate undadam anedi అన్ని ఆప్షనల్స్ లో ఉండదు, రైట్? సో ఒక ఆప్షనల్ ఒక టైం డీల్ చేస్తుంది. సమ్ ఆఫ్ ది ఆప్షనల్స్ క్రేజ్ బట్టి వెళ్తాయి ఆ సెషన్స్కి, ఆ టైంకి. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ పబ్యాట్. ప్రీవియస్లీ పబ్యాట్ యూజ్ టు రూల్ హైదరాబాద్, నోవేర్. సో బేస్డ్ ఆన్ దిస్ అవి మనకి ఈ ఆప్షనల్కి అవి కాదు. ఆప్షనల్ ఇట్ సెల్ఫ్ డెలివరింగ్ 20% ఆఫ్ సెలెక్షన్స్ ఎవ్రీ ఇయర్. దట్ ఈస్ ద స్పెషాలిటీ ఆఫ్ దిస్ ఆప్షన్. సో నెంబర్స్ ఆర్ ఇంక్రీజింగ్ బేస్డ్ ఆన్ దట్ ఎవ్రీ ఇయర్ దే ఆర్ ప్రొడ్యూసింగ్ ర్యాంక్స్. సో ఫస్ట్ ఇక్కడ ఒక క్లారిటీ తెచ్చుకుందాం. సెలెక్ట్ అవ్వడానికి ఎంత మార్క్ కావాలి? అబౌవ్ 300. సో మన టార్గెట్ ఏంటి? టు సెక్యూర్ ద మార్క్స్ అబౌవ్ 300 ఇన్ ఆంథ్రోపాలజీ, రైట్? ఇఫ్ యూ స్కోర్డ్ అబౌవ్ 300, యువర్ నెంబర్స్ విల్ బి ఇన్ సింగిల్ డిజిట్, యువర్ ర్యాంక్ విల్ బి ఇన్ సింగిల్ డిజిట్. సో ఇఫ్ యూ నీడ్ ఇట్ యూ షుడ్ బి దేర్. సో మన టార్గెట్ కూడా 300కి తగ్గకూడదు. So he is my student. He had written anthropology insights in Bangalore and he scored first rank. So why I am exposing him? Nothing but there is a myth. Only science students are good for anthropology. There is a lot of science. He is completely civil engineering student who scored all India first rank with anthropology as option. So science students ఎక్కువ స్కోర్ చేయలేదు నిజంగా. అదర్ స్టూడెంట్స్ ఆంథ్రోపాలజీతో ఎక్కువ స్కోర్ చేసిన వాళ్ళు ఉన్నారు. దట్ ఈస్ ద రియాలిటీ. ఓన్లీ థింగ్ ఈజ్ షుడ్ బి ఫోకస్డ్. 2 things ఆర్ దేర్. వాట్ హీ ఈజ్ ఆస్కింగ్, వాట్ ఐ షుడ్ డెలివర్. రెండు డిఫరెంట్. నాకు నచ్చింది రాస్తే మార్కులు రావు, వాడు ఎక్స్పెక్ట్ చేసింది మాత్రమే రాయాలి. అది నెక్స్ట్ మాట్లాడదాం. సో ఒకసారి మార్క్స్ చూసుకుంటే వాట్ ఎవర్ ది సీనియర్స్ హూ ఆర్ సెలెక్టెడ్, above 300 is their score for anthropology. 850 plus you are ready for interview, total score. And 900 plus any one post will be gained. So 850 plus out of 850, 300 plus is your optional. So in your success 50% is your optional. So don't take immediate decisions. Look into the syllabus, complete thoroughly, right? How much you are. You should develop an empathy towards the optional. You should like it. Then only you can deliver, right? Only for the sake of exam or some degree, You have studied that degree. That will not work out here. Right? First, you should like the optional. Right, next one. After the anthropology or any optional, next most important will be your essay paper. To secure rank. See here, for any GS subject, highest marks is 100 only. 100 and above. Out of 200, if you score 100, you are selected. So here, major role will be played by optional and essay for you to get selected in mains exam. So these things you will neglect. That is the main problem here. You won't revise, you won't write answer writing sessions completely. For essay paper, general, no problem, I will manage. Management will not work out here. That type of mindset should be avoided. If you think that I can manage essay in the exam, you can't. And that will be more scoring than all the GS subjects. So these two things are most neglected by the students who are writing mains, then the result will be the same. Those who will take care of those things, anthropology or any optional, I will write a complete answer session, complete syllabus, right? You are ready. Then the same way you should write at least essays also, about 200 to 300 essays, then you are ready. Then for ethics and etc., scoring of 100 is great for ethics. So that is the strategy here. So complete your selection is dependent on optional and essay paper. So everyone will say that anthropology is the easiest optional. Why? Because it is easy to understand. Just by simple reading, you can understand what the concept is. Many students who are reading for anthropology, there are two standard books which was written by the IAS officers. One is Anthropology Simplified, another one is Anthropology Demystified. They are the top rankers. Those two books are available in the market. By just reading those books completely, you can score up to 250. Yes, reading just going for any sessions of anywhere, anthropology, and completely giving a syllabus reading and preparing the old question paper, 250 marks guarantee. That is the strength of this option. But 250 is not the selecting marks. While all over India, everyone will read those two books. Then your answer also, similarly, you have written. What will be your score? You should show something specialty in your answer, in the arrangement and everything. I will show you, right? So easy to understand. Okay, next important one is less syllabus. This is very much important. Some people select geography, history, and etc. Whatever it is. If the optional syllabus itself is very lengthy, the time for you to read GS, current updates, and after prelims, how much time is available for you? Within the 2 to 3 months, you should revise all the GS subjects, all the current affairs, and for mains, written practice. So you should practice all those subjects writing. If your optional is lengthy, what will happen? So this will take time more, and again, and you can't do justice for any subject. If your optional is small, and you have prepared your optional before prelims, then what will happen? So every day I will prepare my timetable. After prelims, every morning to evening, I will read GS only. And evening session, I will write the anthropology answers, because these are completely repeated previous year's questions on the static portion. So the questions will be the same. The same question which I have written, the same thing you will write. Right? So what will happen? Every day evening, I will dedicate. That's enough. So there is less the optional syllabus, more time for you to manage GS, essays, and etc. That is the biggest advantage with these subjects. That's why the selection is more. Nothing but other options are not good. I am not saying those things. Other options are good, but the student can't manage the time. Here you will get that benefit. Right? Next, completely direct question and answers from this direct syllabus. Whatever is there in the syllabus paper, the same thing in the question. No indirect questions. For example, PubEd or some other subjects. Recently, you observe the question papers. Take some previous year question papers. Question itself is one paragraph. They are asking, the question itself will be one paragraph. You should understand what he is asking. Then I should know what I should write. Right? So, how much hectic it will be? If you know the complete syllabus, then the questions are direct. It's easy. Next, large portion is related to. So we'll read all the tribal India paper 2, completely related to tribes, SC, ST, what are the problems, what the government is doing, 5th schedule, 6th schedule, and etc. All those things are completely GS. So these things will be useful both areas. I can use in optional and the same way in Indian society paper. The same things are there. Right? Next, less time to revise more for optional and easy to all the background students. So what you should do is, you should go for best faculty, best material, answer writing practice, and most important one is, you should respect your optional. At any time, after reading, you will think that I have read, no problem, I can write. Best example for GS also, geography. You will read, you will understand, but when I ask you in prelims question, respecting the subject is more important. I will tell you. So those who are completely beginners, sir, I don't know what to start, from where to start. So there is one standard book, that is, start with that book. Why I am suggesting ember and number means there will be a lot of examples here. Right? So these examples only are case studies you will use in the exam paper. Right? So conceptual clarity, quick understanding, and easy English. So if you want to start, just give one reading. Don't go into the depths. Right? That is not written for anthropology optional. That book is dedicated for anthropology as a subject or discipline. We are understanding the anthropology with that subject. So just give one paper reading. Then you will understand what the intention of the subject is, what the focus is, and you will know what different type of examples. And in this book, what you should concentrate means, in ember and ember, there will be some boxes. For example, in NCRT, there will be side some boxes. I think you have seen the previous year question answers. All the prelims bit are coming from NCRT, and that too from the boxes. Like that, ember and ember also had some pictures of tribals and some boxes. Those things you should grab. Keep a white paper and write those examples. If I have learned those examples, I can use those things in many aspects. You can use them in essay paper, you can use in GS, and you can use in anthropology. All these areas, there will be tribals. What are their social aspects, economic aspects, in all the aspects of the tribals. So when I know more number of examples, here in this subject, we'll study completely different case studies. Two things are important. Anthropology means examples and case studies. Like that, essay paper also. You should know some quotations, some famous leaders' quotations. So I think for essay, you are observing all our philosophical essays. They are directly giving quotations. Some of them you should by heart so that you can use it anywhere. Like that, start with ember and ember. Right? Read the boxes items which are present in the textbook. And other paragraphs and everything, all the lessons, give just one newspaper reading. Then you will understand what is the subject. Right? Next, for both the papers, we need examples and diagrams. Those things are most important for our. This is some aspects are related to science. When I am writing a science paper, for example, in your 10th class, if you are drawing a diagram, without diagram, science you can't explain. And more important one is, after drawing a diagram, what you should do? Labeling them. When I'm writing a mains exam, the main disadvantage for the students is they won't label. They are in a hurry. The time is less. I want to complete in syllabus. They'll simply draw the diagram. So two things after drawing the diagram. What is the diagram? You should mention the subject below it and labeling of the diagram. Those things will fetch marks here. Right? So papers, we should learn what are the different quotations or examples or case studies and etc. So we up to now we have studied what is anthropology. By reading anthropology, how this optional will help in GS. In reverse manner, we will go. Right. First one, society and social justice. Indian society or social. We will read about all the economical aspects of rural India, caste system, Purusha Sukta, all those. Those all are your GS paper 2 syllabus. And welfare of SC/STs. What are the constitutional safeguards? Right? What are the legislative acts for them? All these things will be covered here. And again, those things again you can use in essay paper. And ethics. For ethical aspect also, anthropological dimension. You should understand with them. So what are the tribal problems? I am explaining it as a third person, that is not correct one. I should give my lecture as a tribal. Then only I can really understand what their problem is. Yes or no? That type of dimension is called as anthropological dimension. Right? You will feel that you are the tribe and you will feel the problem. So those things you can explain excellently in essay paper. Right? So internal security, regionalism, communalism, all those things you can explain. And a large portion of biological aspect. Right? So biological aspect, I'll give you GS some bits. So recent bits, role of B cell, T cell, science and technology, what is AS2, genes and etc. with giving reference to recombinant DNA vaccines. So what is DNA? What is RNA? For corona now we are using RNA vaccines, mRNA vaccines. What are those things? So these things, a better understanding, for example, DNA barcoding, a recently identified in newspaper, that is also given previously bit. Right? So in 2019, what is hepatitis B, etc. So diseases and different vaccination programs and those diseases. So RNA interference means what? Pneumococcal conjugate vaccinism. These are all science and technology portion which is present in GS for prelims. Those all things you will get understanding better through anthropology, because here we will deal what is cell, what is RNA, what is mRNA, right? How the replication, protein synthesis, whatever, everything, and vaccines and etc. The main concepts you will learn here. So these things, better understanding. So for a GS also, useful or not? Right. So physical part. So now you may think that I am not a science student. I don't know anything about those things. How can I understand? Here one thing is, those are static. Once you know what is genetic engineering, that's all. No need of anything for your concept, I mean, indirect questions or anything, etc. You should study what is it, that's all. For learning, first time it is new, yes. But after learning, so physical anthropology is the portion which you will get more marks. Everyone will think that tribal part is there in paper 2, and I know what are the welfare of SC/ST, constitutional, GS, everything I have studied, so I will get more marks, you will think. But reality, paper 1 will give more marks than paper 2. If you see all the old previous selected candidates, you see the marks. Paper 1 only they will get more marks than the paper 2. Why? Because this is completely static. What are the questions they have asked previously? The same question they will give you. And we will give you a complete prepared question answers. And you will write the same thing 2 to 3 times in answer session. The best answer you will give and more marks will be given. For example, tribal and etc. There you should give your views. So I may get satisfied or may not be satisfied with your answer. Based on those things, your marks will be fluctuating. But in this portion, completely static. So you don't get any fear about science portion. Easiest portion will be the science portion only. After reading those things. Why? Because it's completely static. So if, for example, for 10th class, what you have done? Some test series, textbook or book bank. Yes or no? What there is? Complete prepared question and answer, you have marked it and you produced and I got 550 in 10th and etc. The same thing will be here. The questions are same, answers are same, repeated. Then what you will write? The same thing and you will get more marks. So all your views and etc. will be in second part only. So you will fear here, but it is the best portion. Right. So everything is good. What I have said, that means everyone should get selected. Then you can ask me why you are not selected. Yes? Or you can ask why anthropology, everyone is taking, why all our people are not getting selected. So most important thing is, for all the optional papers, there will be UPSC means the short name. What is UPSC? There is a nickname. Unpredictable Public Service Commission, not Union Public Service Commission. All the aspirants will call it as unpredictable. Right? So the same way here, this is the most important concept. Whatever students are going to different type of institutes, based on those areas, they will learn static portion only. You will read, write the previous questions and etc. But your focus should be, what are the areas UPSC is focused? Right? Recently, what is the change? Based on those things. For example, you are reading current affairs, right? But one document, if I say that 8 bits are coming from only one document, then how it will be? Last year, presidential note, budget speed, in every budget speed there will be presidential note. From the presidential note, there are 8 bits. What are the schemes and etc. everything. But people will read complete current affairs. If you read those one thing, 5 to 8 bits are compulsory. So trends, this you should focus. First one, complete applied anthropology. We are reading anthropology for what? How will we apply this in our recent problems? So the questions are based or framed on this aspect only. These type of questions are increasing. For example, how will you address the issues like poverty, inequality, environmental degradation? These are recent problems. But how anthropological knowledge will help to eliminate these problems or eradicate these problems? Right? So if you see the questions, annihilation of caste, is it possible? Or sustainable development and sustained development of tribal communities. So they are focusing on social or economical or regional problems, issues, and how will you rectify those things, or how will you use this anthropological knowledge to solve those problems? How can anthropology use it to understand the climate change and its effect for indigenous? This thing is repeated in 2018 and again in 2024. The same question was repeated as it is. Right? Climate change you will read in environment, but how anthropology will help it? Right? And the contribution of anthropology for the livelihood of tribal communities. Right? Sustained development, and the same thing in another form. The same question will be repeated. Here, what is the focus? Why the people who are selected anthropology, but some people are getting failed? Here, selection of. I have read complete syllabus. Before writing the exam answer, you should focus on which question I should select, because in the question paper there is choice. If you have selected the answer or question which you can't express completely, that will affect your complete preparation. Right? So the selection of the question or choice is more important. Because all the questions you know, they are static. And second one, relying on the topper's notes or complete incomplete materials, seniors and etc. See, everyone who had selected for anthropology, they will prepare their own notes. Yes or no? If you go to net, all the selected candidates are placing their notes. What is that meaning? You should read their notes or should you prepare your own notes? You should also prepare your own notes. But you should grab important points from their notes. Right? And most one, changing trends. This should be your care of address. So other current affairs related, for example, for globalization, demography, media, climate change, conflict resolutions, these are all GS topics. And we will read the same questions. This give your assessment of reasons for imbalance in sex ratio in India. Why the sex ratio is imbalance, right? What is the impact of media in social life for Indian villages? So, and again interdisciplinary, that is other subjects, how anthropology is impacting. For example, ethics, genetic engineering, social sciences, and planning issues. How anthropology will help you to planning, macro level planning, right? Next, critical thinking. This is very much important for mains question answers. Here the key word you should understand. For example, they have asked you critically discuss, critically examine, evaluate, this type of one word, but the word meaning will change. Explain is not examine. Explain means you should write how it is, what it is. For example, I am explaining anything. I should write causes and effect. There is an object, I am explaining it. Why it is like that, what are the causes? And because of it, what will affect? That is my focus. If I am asking for examine, I am a doctor, I want to examine a patient, then I will go for tests. That means some factual like data I need. Then it may or may not be. So for any issue, first you should identify some facts. Then positives and negatives of the topic. Then in your suggestions. That is examine. So explain and exam both are not same. The topic may be the same. So without understanding these keywords and you are writing simply, so he is asking something different and you are producing the same thing, but the student after writing exam have given everything, but his number will not be in the selected. So understanding those keywords is very, very important. Here, the same question which was asked previously will be repeated again. Yes or no? Because static portion I am saying and the questions are same. Then where should you focus? These critical words. The same question will be there, but he will ask, critically discuss or critically, then based on the meanings, answer will differ. Everything will not be the same. Those things are more needed. So finally, avoid these common mistakes and follow the trends and don't overlook anything. Complete syllabus should be prepared, right? And complete dedication towards practicing of diagrams and labeling them, right? And revision is most important, which is often neglected. So complete your own notes should be prepared, and in that notes completely I need anthropologist names. I have said Amber and Amber, go through it. Here you should produce not only their names, what work they have done. So you should give an introduction, arguments and etc. using those people for any answer, right? I will say you here, see, this is one of the anthropology, that is Malinowski. While writing the answer, I will give his name, his work, and the year also, in which year. And in that work, what he focused. This is complete set. Right? Many students, what they will write? While they are discussing, this work was done by the anthropologist's name or his work, that's all. They are the base for our subject. So for writing those things, name of the anthropologists, their work, their year, and complete. In that book, what is our focus? In this packed manner, if you have written, then here the students will make mistakes. He will write only 1 or 2 portions and complete. Right? So those things we'll deal again while dealing with the subject, etc. When we go on. బయటకు వచ్చేసి ఇంకోటి ఓపెన్ చేద్దాం. ఇంకోటి ఓపెన్ చేద్దాం. బయటకు వచ్చేసి ఇంకో పీపీటీ వచ్చి రైట్. ఇంకొకటి ఓకే. Right. In Hyderabad, whoever is teaching excellently in anthropology, once they are all my students only. Okay. So I am giving you one secret. Though you interact with our recently who had appeared for anthropology film mains paper, during preparation, what they have done, you interact with them. They have read some material, they have written the previous answers, right? Can you think what the next paper will be? That I will teach you. See here, some questions they have asked in anthropology, paper 1 or paper 2, anywhere. Recent paper. For example, see these things: digitalization of rural economy, origin of state societies, and etc., etc., etc. Right? PVT groups. Why they have asked these things in this year? If I know the source, why they are asking these topics only, then your preparation is completed. In anthropology paper 1, so paper 2, I think we have read the questions. Digitalization of anthropology, that is in the news, and there is many articles were published in 2024 on that aspect. So that is the question is appeared in your exam, right? For the other question, first paper I will read. Paper 1 చూడండి ఒకసారి. ఓకే వచ్చింది. ఓకే రైట్. ఓకే. స్క్రోల్ అవ్వట్లేదు కిందకన్నా డౌన్. Right. I'll show an example. Okay. Attributes of culture. What is Harappan? Maritime trade, critical perspective of choking and evidence, lethal, sublethal genes, etc. These are the short questions. Harappa will read all the aspects. But this time they have asked only one thing, that is Harappan maritime trade. Why they have asked maritime trade? In 2024, many events are occurred. In September 2024, Harappan dockyard of Lothal site In that local site, there is a research paper was published about the Harappan dockyard in December 11, 12th. Indian Maritime Heritage Conclave, a meeting or symposium occurred in that, mainly India's maritime legacy. The article was published. So the question was present in our question paper. Similarly, lethal, sublethal genes, that is standard question. But why the standard question appeared this year? Why? Because in 2024, several articles were published on those things. What are the lethal genes? What are non-lethal genes? What are the effects? And etc. Right? In the similar manner, Nagar side they have asked why they have those things. In January 23, 2024, many articles, mainly US had dedicated $3 lakh for a separate museum to exhibit the tools and excavations of the Nagar. And similarly, another article, ancient Nagar civilization. So all these publications were given. So in the question paper, you have got the right about Nagar site. Now what you have understood? Right? So after reading complete static preparation of your question paper, of our syllabus, and we should imagine what will be the next question paper. Then that's done. And I know what he is asking, and I will prepare those examples and etc. excellently prepared question answers. Then our aim is not just studying anthropology, first rank, because you know the question paper here. How many of those students who are going to other should have known these things? This is a secret. There is a separate website. Complete every year articles will be there, and we will do it only when I deal the subject. Not now. I'll tell those things. So another question: lifetime diseases. So burden of lifestyle diseases, their impact on health services. An article was published by Government of India. Increasing prevalence of lifestyle diseases. So these are articles. The same question they asked. Right? Not only those things, while I am writing an answer. For example, this time, deconstruction of the language. This was appeared in our 2024 paper. Many you know what is deconstruction, but they have never heard the name of Derrida in postmodern anthropology. But why they have asked? A separate volume of publishing has occurred of those things in 2024, September, November, and June. A separate conference was in postmodern anthropologists. A separate conference was held. What is contributions of Derrida in postmodern life? Right? So if I know those things, for example, other things they have Sino-Malabar Christians. The same thing they have asked. This issue was occurring from the last July 3rd, 2024. July, October, November, and even January 2025. The same thing is continuing. There is some disturbance in the Christian issue. The same thing they have asked. Here, what is the main thing is, whatever the question may be, if you are reading the static thing, I will give examples from the previous questions. Yes or no? If I have read latest article, what examples I will give? Here, you should satisfy the examiner. The person who is correcting your exam papers is coming from topmost university. He will be PhD scholar and he will be aware of all these articles. Yes or no? And if you satisfy him, you will be the top scorer. And that will be done with your latest knowledge of the current affairs for each and every topic. Right? So that is my focus. While doing with the subject, I will deal each and everything, what are the current aspect and those things which have appeared, everything I will do here. And most important one, Our anthropology can be divided into two important parts from paper 1 and paper 2. In paper 1, evolution of the man, how man had evolved completely from monkey to as a human, physically, biologically, all this cell DNA and everything. Here we will deal it. In the same paper 2, in India, that is from the world and this is from India, evolution of man in India. So the same bone structures and etc. where we have observed different sites, all those things in India where we have identified those things. Right. Second one, socio-cultural anthropology. So cultural aspects, society aspect, that is family, marriage, kinship, how he build his own relations. Right. So those things we'll deal in this chapter. And the same thing in Indian society. What is our village? Right? Well, how the in village system was being disturbed by westernization, globalization, all those things we'll read here. Then anthropological thought. Different anthropologists, how they have understood. For example, there is tribal society, rural society, and modern society. How man moved from tribal to modern societies. Different anthropologists have expressed their own thoughts to understand how this change had occurred. All these things we will deal in here. Next, the same thing, Indian anthropologists and their contribution. How they have contributed for development of anthropology in India. Right? Physical anthropology completely, science-related part and everything. And the same thing here. Application of anthropology in the world aspect like sports. For example, for cricket bat, based on our physics science, so Indian, Chinese and etc. European. So the physics will change. So all the sports items should be according to their size. And the defense. So how will this anthropology is applicated in different fields? Defense, sports, nutrition, right? Diseases and everything will deal here. And the same thing, application of anthropology in social issues. Right? What are the social problems of the tribals? Poverty, inequality, climate change, etc. How will you deal with this? Anthropology. Next, general archaeology and Indian archaeology, sir will deal these things. And with the analysis of the question paper, I will conclude my session. I am compiling completely unit portion. In the syllabus, there will be 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 in that manner, right? So I am taking another aspect, that is not as 250 marks. Your paper is prepared for 400 marks and you given choice is given and you will write for 250 marks. So for 400 marks, whatever the years or whatever the pattern is, some chapters are dedicated continuously at higher. See here, every year 80 plus and here 60s and some other 10, 15 only. So what should be our focus? In this chapter, any question, whatever manner you like, I should be ready for that. So see some areas here, recently in unit 9, that is 110 marks they have asked and 85. So by reading 3-4 chapters completely, out of 400, 200 plus you can achieve. Yes sir. The same pattern they are following. So we should identify those topics first after our completion of our subject, and whatever manner you can ask your question paper, I should be ready for those chapters. So while reading, you should select what are the chapters where UPSC is focusing, what are the chapters less important. We will completely read it. Right? Similarly, in paper 2 also, those are the units 1.1, 1.2 and etc. Some areas 50 plus, 75, 95, either 10 or 50 are no questions from these topics. So if I read 80, 90, 75 and 50, 4 units completely, I am done with my paper 2 completely. So I will identify those chapters. In these chapters, whatever the confusing manner, whatever indirect questions, I should be able to answer those things. That should be my focus. Right? So in detail, we'll go about what are the units and etc. I will give when we start our sessions and etc. So these are the basic books. Social anthropology you should go through Mazumdar and Madan, and anthropology by Ember. Biological part you can start with 12th class NCERT. Introduction to sociology, social aspects, caste and etc. you can go through NCERT class 11. And measuring the time of Indian prehistory, K. Bhattacharya book. Physical anthropology by P. Nath. Similarly, anthropology paper 2, Bhattacharya, Indian Society NCERT, Prehistory Bhattacharya, Social Change and Development in India, NCERT book, 12th class, and Tribal India by Nadeem Hussain, Tribal Culture, LP Vidyarthi, and Indian Anthropology by Nadeem Hussain. Sir, I can't read all those things. Yes, sir. So for you, how our classes will be there, just I will show you. I have prepared complete anthropology in pictorial manner. So while dealing with the subject, we will simply each and everything will have the pictures, their explanations, right? So there is nothing you can't understand. And you, while reading, up to now you have seen only GS in pictorial manner. I have complete optional in pictorial for all the chapters. So family, what are the anthropologists? What they are saying? Different types of families. Right? And what the anthropology is going to say? What is the example? What is the lifestyle? Right? Each and everything will be pictorial. So for complete understanding, right, I have prepared in this manner each and every chapter. So only thing I need from you is you should believe the subject and you should develop an empathy. If you like it, it will give you gift with your high scores. Right? If you are just reading for reading's sake, that will not be enough. Right? And more focused on recent trends. If you go to any institute, they will give whatever it is. They will give the notes, material, and practice session with previous years. I will give you tomorrow's paper. Only thing is, I need support from you. Whatever I give any work for you, whatever the test is will be being held here, everything you should follow strictly. Right? Thank you.
Slide. Hello everyone, am I audible? Okay. So the thing is, when it comes to this section on anthropology, I won't take much of your time. Just try to understand it. So anthropology is definitely, as sir has pointed out, one of the simplest optionals that is there. Primarily because whatever part is present in the syllabus, the same wording is picked up and made as questions. And the chances to score high. And one more point that sir has pointed out, that the time that is required to prepare anthropology is substantially less when compared to other optionals, which will provide you more time to prepare for general studies. But at the same time, anthropology as a subject, if you look at, definitely, even though it is simplistic, But if you want to score the highest marks in the subject, definitely you should not do, okay, what everyone else is doing. Okay, as sir was also telling the same thing, but in an indirect fashion. See, if anthropology, definitely it is simple, everyone knows that it is simple. But why only some candidates are scoring well, whereas majority of the students are not able to score well is something which we need to focus upon. Primarily in anthropology, there are some oversimplifications which are being done, which is taking away the subject depth which is required in order to write the exam. So because of which reason you should avoid this kind of oversimplifications. Many materials have come in the market which don't actually own, or they will touch only the tip of the iceberg. And recently UPSC, earlier it was true that direct questions were coming, but they are going a little bit in depth. And when they are going a little bit in depth, the students who are preparing for the exam superficially, they are getting easily filtered out. Then along with that, when you prepare for an optional, the competence that is required of you is an MA level competence is required from you. Okay, so MA level competence means naturally you should have a more clearer understanding of the subject. Then along with that, various thinkers, okay, their application to today's society, then their application to today's tribal India. So all of these things we need to understand. And anthropology as a subject, it is at the interface of, on one side, biology, on the other side, archaeology, on the other side, there is some section of history in it. Then apart from this, anthropology as a discipline itself is a multidisciplinary subject. Yes, definitely we are not reading every section in depth, but we are touching upon so many areas, sir. We are touching genetics, we are touching biology, we are touching human evolution, we are touching history, we are touching today's tribal India. This way, there are multiple areas which you are touching upon, but with only necessary depth, and all these disciplines put together, they become the discipline of anthropology. So because of which reason, naturally, in general studies also, there are a lot many overlaps. As has been pointed out, biotechnology is an overlap, tribals is an overlap, religion, caste is an overlap, archaeology is an overlap with history. This way we have multiple overlaps and we can focus upon those areas. When it comes to the section that I'm going to deal, the section that I'm going to deal is archaeological anthropology. And in archaeological anthropology, there is a lot of interaction with history. And usually this is the section which is not dealt with the right kind of academic rigor by most anthropology teachers. The primary reason being it is a domain of history, sir. Because of which reason I picked up this particular area, okay, for my classes, because archaeological anthropology deals with the section of history which is usually called as prehistory. Prehistory means what? The things which happened before the start of history is the domain of anthropology. History started with written records, and the things which happened in human society before the written records were first written, that is the period domain of prehistory. And archaeology, general archaeology is given, the 6th chapter that sir has pointed out, and along with that, archaeology in India are the 2 sections that have been given. In paper 1, it is constituting 1.8 section, and in paper 2 also nearly 2 chapters are from archaeology. And in prehistorical part, the number of questions that are coming are, if you look at just the 2024 paper as a sample, in total they have asked 75 marks, sir. So somewhere between, sometimes 80 marks they are asking, but somewhere between 60 to 80 marks are assured from the section on archaeological anthropology. And most students face a lot of difficulty in answering this, primarily because this requires a different kind of mindset, sir. The reason being, these days what they are doing is, earlier they used to ask generally like, discuss about the Neolithic cultures of India. This was a very simple question. You can write any area's Neolithic story, you can explain, okay, and then you can happily come out. But these days what they are doing is, they are specifically asking about the sites, sir. As sir has pointed out, there was a question on Mehergarh. Okay, so Mehergarh, there was a question. Then just think about it. Out of nearly some 50 to 60 Neolithic sites which are present in India, if a specific question is asked on, okay, one particular site, then how are we going to handle it? You cannot write the general information of the Neolithic cultures for a specific question on a site, right? Which means that you need to have some idea about the specific prominent sites, right? And when you have to study site-wise, then the challenge becomes a little bigger. Yes, why? Because Paleolithic, there will be some 20-30 sites. Then again, Neolithic 20-30 sites. Then which sites to focus upon, which sites to neglect? This becomes a major question, which means that you need to understand there are some type sites in archaeology. Type site means this is the site on the basis of which the rest of the period's history is reconstructed, and Mehergarh is what one such type sites are. Because of which reason only they have asked a question, 15-marker question directly on Mehergarh. So when these kind of questions are asked, the challenge becomes a little more high, sir. Even though you might write many generalistic points, but specific points about who excavated Mehergarh and what is the significance of it, all of these aspects should be touched upon, primarily because Mehergarh is one of the oldest Neolithic sites of not only India but entire South Asia, sir. It was a site which is 7,000 years old, and 7,000 years ago itself, it is the first village site which had a cumulative population of nearly 25,000 people, sir. And it is the place where both domestication of animals and plants is done for the first time in South Asia. That is the reason why they have asked a question not just about Mehergarh. Discuss the significance of Mehergarh in domestication of plants and animals is the question that has been given. Why particularly domestication? Because this is the site where domestication was first observed by archaeologists in South Asia. This is the place where first human settlements started developing villages. Then along with that, this is the site where archaeologists have discovered not one or two, but 32,000 ceramic evidences of images, sir. See how significant this site is. If you write this kind of content, then only you will get good marks, sir. Otherwise, if you just write, Mehergarh is an important Neolithic site, so here domestication is done, here domestication of animals is done. So if you write this way, then it becomes a very generalistic answer. So whenever you deal with your optional, just always try to go one step ahead. Do some research of your own. Whatever is taught in class, you go one step ahead. Then only there is good possibility for you to answer the questions properly. Then one more question has been asked last year for 20 marks, sir. They asked a question on a Indus Valley civilization site called Rakhigarhi for 20 marks, sir. See? So they did not ask generally about Indus Valley civilization. Let's suppose even maritime trade of Indus Valley civilization, it is also a manageable thing. But they asked a specific question on the site of Rakhigarhi, and you just observe the question which has been asked, then you will be able to better understand what I'm trying to say. You read this question. This critically describe the evidence from Rakhigarhi. Read the question. So you might be knowing from general studies itself, there are so many Indus Valley civilization sites. So nearly 20-30 sites in general studies itself we touch upon. But specifically, they have selected the site of Rakhigarhi and asked us its linkage to Harappan civilization. Primarily because Rakhigarhi is a very important site which has been recently excavated, and it is changing the very method of interpreting Indus Valley civilization itself, sir. Because till now, Indus Valley civilization's name remained only Indus Valley civilization. But because of the discovery of the sites in the region of Haryana, and along with that in Rajasthan and Gujarat, today the very name of Indus Valley civilization is being changed to Sindhu Saraswati civilization. Which means that through Rakhigarhi, we are not just studying Rakhigarhi, but we are reinterpreting what we understand about Indus Valley civilization. See how significant it is. Then along with that, till date, whenever anyone speaks about Indus Valley civilization, they were only talking about Mohenjo-daro and Harappa. But in 1997, when Rakhigarhi discovery was made, Rakhigarhi was, in fact, in its size, 550 hectares in its size, which is almost 1/3 larger in size with compared to Mohenjo-daro, and it was 3 times the size of Harappa, sir. Until then, everyone was thinking that Mohenjo-daro is the largest site. But the discovery of this site, it changed our very understanding of what is the core zone of Indus Valley civilization. Till now, we are thinking that core zone of Indus Valley civilization is in Pakistan. But the discovery of Rakhigarhi, it changed our perspective on Indus Valley civilization completely. Then along with that, when Indian historians, the Archaeological Survey in 1997 conducted the discovery, they found some skeletons. And when they found the skeletons, they started doing some DNA research into the skeletons. And when they conducted the DNA research, particularly there is a woman skeleton which is called as, very famously known as Rakhigarhi woman skeleton. And there they searched for a gene which is called as R1A1 gene, which is typically considered to be an Aryan gene, sir. And because of this skeletal remain, the entire debate of whether Aryans came from outside or is there continuity from Indus Valley civilization to today's Indians, that has come out. These are the kind of things that you need to write in your answer, which will enhance the level of your answer from a normal answer to a high level answer, sir. Are you understanding this? They are not asking about some remote site. They are not saying that so please write about how Banveri Wala is leading to reinterpretation of Harappan civilization. They are not asking. They are asking about Rakhigarhi particularly, primarily because of the historical significance of Rakhigarhi and how it is forcing us to reinterpret our very idea of what Harappan civilization is all about. Are you understanding this? Genetic studies are happening. Largest site it is. The name of Indus Valley civilization itself is being changed to Sindhu Saraswati civilization. So naturally we should know about this Rakhigarhi as a site. Yes or no? Then over and above that, one more question that is asked here is, you just observe in the year 2024, in the mains, nearly 75 marks have been asked. And you see the first question I talked about Mehergar, right? See, what are they asking? You cannot generally write about Mehergar, sir. They're asking what? Describe the evidences of food production and domestication of animals with special reference to Mehergar. Throw light on its significance is the question. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? It means that they are not asking generally Neolithic. They are not specifically asking Mehergar. They are asking Mehergar domestication of plants and animals, which is in fact 3 steps in depth. Is it true or not? And if we don't know the specific information, satisfying the examiner is going to be a logical impossibility, sir. ఎప్పుడైనా గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి, ఆప్షనల్లో మాత్రం knowledge is power. Which means that if you have more deeper understanding of the subject, naturally your very approach to the question will be different from rest of them, sir. మరి ఆ లెవెల్లో మీరు రాయగలగాలంటే మీ నాలెడ్జ్ అలానే ఉండాలి, మీ ఫ్రేమ్వర్క్స్ అలానే ఉండాలి. ఇదే క్వశ్చన్ని ఒక జనరల్ స్టడీస్ స్టూడెంట్ కూడా మెహర్గర్ గురించి ఏదో కొంచెం ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ తెలిసిన వాళ్ళు కూడా రాస్తారు. కానీ ఒక ఆంథ్రోపాలజీ స్టూడెంట్ ఎలా రాయాలి? ఎవరు ఈ మెహర్గర్ సైట్ని ఫస్ట్ ఎక్స్కవేట్ చేశారు? ఎప్పుడు జరిగింది ఎక్స్కవేషన్? 1975. There was a French archaeological team which visited Pakistan and they are the first to conduct the excavations in Mehergar. And in fact, one more important thing is, it is the people of Mehergar who eventually, according to a theory, who eventually migrated into, because ఈ Mehergar అనేది ఎక్కడ ఉంది? బలూచిస్తాన్ కొండల్లో ఉంది. బలూచిస్తాన్ కొండల్లో మరి అక్కడ రీసోర్సెస్ సరిగా లేవు, మౌంటేనియస్ రీజన్, అగ్రికల్చర్ అనేది పాసిబిలిటీ చాలా తక్కువ. అయినా సరే వీళ్ళు 25,000 పీపుల్ రిసైడ్ అవ్వగలిగిన విలేజ్ ని డెవలప్ చేసుకున్నారు. And once these people migrated from Baluchistan to the region of Indus Valley, naturally whatever technologies they were using on the mountains, when the same technologies are used on the plains, the agricultural productivity, it multiplied, sir. అంటే కొండగుట్టల్లో వ్యవసాయం చేసినప్పుడే వాళ్ళు అంత ప్రొడ్యూస్ చేయగలిగారంటే, వాళ్ళకు ఫర్టైల్ ల్యాండ్స్ వాళ్ళకి దొరికినప్పుడు naturally what they did is they enhanced the kind of productivity and this led to urbanization and that urbanization became Indus Valley civilization, sir. See how well it is all linked, sir. కాబట్టి మనకి ఏంటంటే ఎప్పుడైనా ఒక సబ్జెక్ట్ చదివినప్పుడు దాని మీద మనకు కంప్లీట్ గ్రిప్ ఉంటే మనకు లాజికల్ ఇన్కోహరెన్సెస్ ఉండవు, సార్. అర్థమవుతుందా? అర్థం కాకపోవడం ఏముండదు. కానీ ఆ సబ్జెక్ట్ని నెససరీ డెప్త్లో నాలెడ్జ్ని మనం అక్వైర్ చేయగలిగితే అప్పుడు మనం రాసే మెథడాలజీ టైపే మారిపోతుంది. See, very simple. Then over and above that, just observe one more question. So Harappan maritime trade, sir has talked about it, why it has come also he has said, but you just observe the other question which has been asked. Write a note on chronometric dating. So this is a very very simple question. కానీ మనకు చూడండి సిలబస్ లో మీరు అబ్జర్వ్ చేస్తే there is a line, just see this, there is a line which is present in syllabus which is called as relative and absolute dating method, sir. చాలా సింపుల్ లైన్ ఉంది కదా. రిలేటివ్ డేటింగ్ మెథడ్ ఒకటి ఉంది, అబ్సల్యూట్ డేటింగ్ మెథడ్ ఒకటి ఉంది. రిలేటివ్ డేటింగ్ ఇస్ వాట్? బికాస్ ఇన్ ప్రీ హిస్టారికల్ పీరియడ్ we don't know exactly when a particular tool is being used, when a particular culture has developed, we use this technique which is called as dating. Dating ante enti? You will determine the time of a particular thing, okay, then it is called as dating. And there are two kinds of dating. One is relative, one is absolute. And if you look at the relative dating lo em jarugutadi, we will compare, okay, based on the time period of one thing, we will reconstruct the time period of another. Are you understanding this? అంటే ఒక దాని టైం పీరియడ్ని పట్టి ఇంకొక దాని టైం పీరియడ్ని మనం డిటర్మైన్ చేస్తే దాన్ని రిలేటివ్ అంటాం. సో ఇలాంటి రిలేటివ్ డేటింగ్ ఒక కాన్సెప్ట్ ఉంది. బట్ మోర్ ఇంపార్టెంట్లీ దెర్ ఇస్ అ కాన్సెప్ట్ కాల్డ్ అబ్సల్యూట్ డేటింగ్, వేర్ మెనీ న్యూ టెక్నాలజీస్ ఆర్ బీయింగ్ యూజ్డ్ ఇన్ ఆర్డర్ టు డిటర్మైన్ ద టైం పీరియడ్ ఆఫ్ వేరియస్ ఆబ్జెక్ట్స్, హ్యూమన్ రిమైన్స్, ఓకే, లేకపోతే నేచర్ రిమైన్స్ ని, వీటన్నిటిని డేట్ చేయడానికి మల్టిపుల్ టెక్నిక్స్ అనేవి డెవలప్ అయ్యాయి. చూడండి, ఇక్కడ అబ్సల్యూట్ రిలేటివ్ డేటింగ్ ఉంటే ఎగ్జామ్లో క్వశ్చన్ ఏమడిగారు? క్రోనోమెట్రిక్ డేటింగ్ అంటున్నారు. మరి సిలబస్లో లేదు కదా సార్, క్రోనోమెట్రిక్ డేటింగ్ అనే టర్మే లేదు ఇక్కడ. మరి అబ్సల్యూట్ రిలేటివ్ డేటింగ్ అని ఉంటే క్రోనోమెట్రిక్ డేటింగ్ అని ఎందుకు అడుగుతున్నారు? ద రీజన్ బీయింగ్ ద అదర్ నేమ్ ఆఫ్ అబ్సల్యూట్ డేటింగ్ ఈస్ క్రోనోమెట్రిక్ డేటింగ్ సార్. ఇది చాలా మందికి తెలియదు సార్. మేము సిలబస్లో ఉన్న అన్ని టాపిక్స్ కరెక్ట్గా ప్రిపేర్ అయ్యాం సార్, కానీ అక్కడికి వెళ్తే క్వశ్చన్లో మాకు అబ్సల్యూట్ రిలేటివ్ డేటింగ్ సిలబస్లో ఉంది, క్రోనోమెట్రిక్ డేటింగ్ అని క్వశ్చన్ అడుగుతున్నారు. మరి ఎందుకు అడుగుతున్నారు? ఇట్ ఈస్ ఎన్ కరెక్ట్ టెక్నికల్ టర్మ్ ఫర్ అబ్సల్యూట్ డేటింగ్ ఈస్ క్రోనోమెట్రిక్ డేటింగ్ అండ్ దే ఆర్ ఆస్కింగ్. And once people realize that chronometric dating itself is absolute dating, they will write a very good answer. కానీ అది తెలవాలి కదా ఫస్ట్, అది ప్రాబ్లం కదా. సో అది మీరు చూడాల్సింది. అండ్ హియర్ సి వి నీడ్ టు టేక్ పాసిబుల్ ఇన్పుట్స్ ఫ్రమ్ మల్టిపుల్ సోర్సెస్, ఓకే, అండ్ వి షుడ్ ఎన్హాన్స్ అవర్ ప్రిపరేషన్. ఈ ఏరియాలో మీరు స్ట్రాంగ్ ఉంటే ఆటోమేటిక్గా మీరు ఏంటంటే కావాలని యూపీఎస్ వాళ్ళు ఏం చేస్తున్నారంటే కొన్ని ఈజీ సెక్షన్స్ని, కొన్ని కష్టమైన సెక్షన్స్ని రెండింటినీ కలిపి క్వశ్చన్స్ ఫ్రేమ్ చేస్తున్నారు సార్. అంటే మీకు తెలిసి ఉంటుంది కదా 50 మార్క్స్కి క్వశ్చన్స్ రాయాలి. అలాంటప్పుడు వాళ్ళు యూపీఎస్సీ వాళ్ళు ఏమనుకుంటున్నారంటే, ఎనీ హౌ ద స్టూడెంట్స్ ఆర్ నాట్ స్టడీయింగ్ ఆర్కియాలజికల్ ఆంథ్రోపాలజీ, లెట్ మీ గివ్ 2 ఈజీ క్వశ్చన్స్ అండ్ 1 20 మార్క్స్ క్వశ్చన్ ఆన్ ఆర్కియాలజికల్ ఆంథ్రోపాలజీ సో దట్ దే విల్ నాట్ ఆన్సర్ దిస్ క్వశ్చన్. వై షుడ్ వి మేక్ ఇట్ ఎ వీక్నెస్? లెట్ us మేక్ ఇట్ అవర్ స్ట్రెంగ్త్. మనం స్ట్రెంగ్త్గా మార్చుకుందాం. మార్చుకొని ఏం చేద్దాము, ఆ క్వశ్చన్కి ఆన్సర్ రాసి పైన ఉన్న 2 ఈజీ క్వశ్చన్స్ కూడా రాయండి నీట్గా, సో దట్ యూ విల్ బీ ఏబుల్ టు అటెంప్ట్ ఏ 50 మార్కర్ క్వశ్చన్. And if you neglect this section, you will lose even that 30 marks which comes in combination with archaeological anthropology. అర్థమవుతుందా? సో కాబట్టి ఆర్కియాలజికల్ ఆంథ్రోపాలజీని మాత్రం యూ లీవ్ ద రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీ టు మీ. ఓకే, ఐ విల్ గివ్ ద బెస్ట్ పాసిబుల్ మెటీరియల్ అండ్ మై క్లాస్ ఆన్ ఆర్కియాలజికల్ ఆంథ్రోపాలజీ ఐ ట్రై టు ప్లాన్ ఇట్ యాజ్ మచ్ as possible on the basis of question and answer, sir. All right, so that let us try to predict some of the sites. Okay, let us study more thoroughly about some of the sites. ఎందుకంటే ఒకసారి ఉన్న 2021 ఇయర్లో అనుకుంటాను ఆర్కియాలజీ మనకు జనరల్ ఆర్కియాలజీ ఉంది కాబట్టి వరల్డ్ ఆర్కియాలజికల్ సైట్స్ మీద కూడా క్వశ్చన్స్ అడుగుతారు సార్. ఒకసారి సడన్గా 2021లో ఏం చేశారంటే నటూషియన్ కల్చర్ గురించి రాయమన్నారు. ఈ నటూషియన్ కల్చర్ ఎక్కడుంది, అసలు ఇది ఆర్కియాలజీనా కాదా అనే విషయం కూడా చాలా మందికి తెలియదు. బట్ నటూషియన్ కల్చర్ ఈస్ వన్ ఆఫ్ ది ఇంపార్టెంట్ నియోలిథిక్ కల్చర్స్ ఇన్ వెస్ట్ ఏషియా సార్. వెస్ట్ ఏషియన్ నియోలిథిక్ కల్చర్ అంటే అందరు రాస్తారు, కానీ వాళ్ళు ఏమని అడిగారు కావాలని, నటూషియన్ కల్చర్ గురించి రాయమన్నారు. ఎందుకు? నటూషియా ఈస్ ఎ సైట్ దేర్. And at the same time, in the year back in 2014-15 itself, once they asked the question on discuss the Neolithic sites of Northeast India అని చెప్పి ఒకసారి క్వశ్చన్ అడిగారు. అందరూ మామూలుగా ఆర్కియాలజీ అంటే ఆంథ్రోపాలజీ చదివే వాళ్ళు ఏం చదువుతారు, మాక్సిమం చదివితే సౌత్ ఇండియన్ నియోలిథిక్ సైట్స్, ఓకే, గంగా బెల్ట్ నియోలిథిక్ సైట్స్, దాంతో పాటు చదివితే రీడ్ అబౌట్ ద నియోలిథిక్ సైట్స్ ఆఫ్ నార్త్ వెస్ట్ ఇండియా. బట్ వాళ్ళు ఎక్కడ అడుగుతున్నారు, నార్త్ ఈస్ట్ ఇండియాలో ఉన్న నియోలిథిక్ సైట్స్ మీద ఒక 15 మార్కర్ క్వశ్చన్ అడిగారు. And only, okay, a student of history will know about it. There are some sites like Dawazili heading there. So దాంతో పాటు అక్కడ చాలా పెక్యులియర్ కల్చర్స్ ఉన్నాయి which are linked to Southeast Asian Neolithic. ఓకే, దాంట్లో అక్కడ రెడ్ కార్డ్ కల్చర్ అని ఒకటి ఉంది which is linked to Burmese Neolithic sites. So all of these things we should know and we should write a very proper answer for it. గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి, దీంట్లో ఏ దాంట్లో కూడా ఆప్షనల్లో మాత్రం ఎటువంటి మ్యాజిక్ వర్క్ అవ్వదు. ఓన్లీ హార్డ్ వర్క్ అండ్ లాజిక్ ఈస్ గోయింగ్ టు వర్క్అవుట్. ఎందుకంటే మీరు జనరల్ స్టడీస్లో ఏదో లాగా మేనేజ్ చేయొచ్చు, కానీ ఆంథ్రోపాలజీ లేకపోతే ఏదైనా ఆప్షనల్ సబ్జెక్ట్లో యూ నీడ్ టు హ్యావ్ ఏ నెసెసరీ డెప్త్ ఆన్ ది సబ్జెక్ట్, దెన్ ఓన్లీ యూ విల్ బీ ఏబుల్ టు ఆన్సర్. Is it clear? And anthropology is as good as any other optional, and it's not about the optional, it's about the students who are preparing for the optional that is more important. In fact, there is a very famous joke at one point of time that there are more students are of anthropology rather than the number of tribal population in India. అంటే వీళ్ళు ఎవరిని స్టడీ చేస్తున్నారో వాళ్ళకంటే ఆంథ్రోపాలజీ స్టూడెంట్స్ ఎక్కువ ఉన్నారు. మరి ఆంథ్రోపాలజీ స్టూడెంట్స్ అంతమంది ఉన్నా సరే కొంతమందికి మాత్రమే మార్క్స్ వస్తున్నాయి. ఎందుకు వస్తున్నాయి? Primarily because they are going to the depth of the subject and studying it with all its focus and dimensions. So దాని వల్లనే మీకు మార్క్స్ వస్తాయి. సార్ కూడా చెప్పారు కదా ఒక మాట, ఎంపతి. ఎంపతి అంటే ఏంటి? You should think from the perspective of a person who genuinely wants an improvement in tribal life. Then only those answers will come in a flow to you, sir. లేకపోతే అంత ఈజీగా రావు. సో దాన్ని సబ్జెక్ట్ని ఇంటర్నలైజ్ చేసుకోవాలి. థింక్ లైక్ అన్ ఆంథ్రోపాలజిస్ట్. ఓకే, సో యూ స్పెండ్ లెస్ టైం, బట్ ఆలోచనలో మాత్రం కంపల్సరీగా ఆ డిస్టింక్షన్ అనేది కనిపించాలి సార్. All right, so these are the areas that we need to do. So and I'll just show you a model answer for some of these questions, how I'm going to deal with them. Just see this, write a note on chronometric dating. So there is a clear-cut introduction for the answer. Chronometric dating is a prehistoric archaeological technique. So what it means, then major chronometric dating methods is given. So number one, radiocarbon dating. So how it is done, how much time period it takes. So ఇట్లా క్లియర్గా మీకు ఒక నోట్ అనేది ప్రొవైడ్ చేస్తాం సార్. చేయడం వల్ల మీరు ఏంటంటే చదివేటప్పుడు మీకు చాలా సింపుల్గా ఉంటుంది. So then after that you can observe dendrochronology is one more method, tree rings method. Then after that there is thermoluminescence technology, optically stimulated luminescence. So then after that there is one technique which is called as potassium argon and argon method. సో ఇలా ఒక 6 to 7 మెథడ్స్ ఆఫ్ అబ్సల్యూట్ డేటింగ్ ఉన్నాయి. వాటన్నిటిని మనం స్టడీ చేస్తే ఆన్సర్ చాలా క్లియర్గా ఒక 10 మార్కర్ క్వశ్చన్ అడిగినప్పుడు ఒక 8 డైమెన్షన్స్ డిస్టింక్ట్ డైమెన్షన్స్ రాయగలిగితే యూ విల్ గెట్ ద బెస్ట్ మార్క్స్ పాసిబుల్ సార్. Are you understanding this? So this is how you need to approach the questions, sir. Making sense? So any questions here on archaeological anthropology? Any questions, queries, doubts?
Is there any books, sir?
Yes, there are many books for archaeological anthropology. So rather than books, let us try to focus on the material for the first go. Then after that, we will definitely suggest some books for you to read. Okay, కానీ books లో కూడా ఏంటంటే చెప్తున్నాను కదా, సైట్ మెన్షన్ చేస్తారు కానీ సైట్ సిగ్నిఫికెన్స్ని చాలా తక్కువ బుక్స్లోనే కవర్ చేస్తున్నారు. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఓకే, ఇప్పుడు మీకు దెర్ ఇస్ ఎ బుక్ ఆన్ ఆర్కియాలజీ ఆఫ్ ఇండియా, వెరీ ఫేమస్ బుక్. బట్ ఇన్ ద బుక్ ఇఫ్ యూ సీ దే విల్ కవర్ నాట్ స్పెసిఫికలీ అబౌట్ ద సైట్ సార్. చేస్తారు కొంతవరకు, కానీ అది మనకు 20 మార్కర్ ఆన్సర్ రాయడానికి సరిపోదు, ఇంకా కొంచెం డెప్త్కి వెళ్ళాలి. Are you understanding this? సో కానీ గైడ్ బుక్స్ బేసిస్ మీద చాలా సింప్లిస్టిక్గా ప్రిపేర్ అవ్వడం మాత్రం చేయకండి. ఐడియల్లీ స్పీకింగ్ యూ షుడ్ ఎంగేజ్ విత్ ద సబ్జెక్ట్ ఇన్ ద నెసరీ ఫ్యాషన్. సో ఏదో ఒక బుక్ మిస్టిఫైడ్, డీమిస్టిఫైడ్, సింప్లిఫైడ్ అనుకుంటే ఓకే మన మార్క్స్ కూడా చాలా సింపుల్గా ఉంటాయి. ఓకే, కాబట్టి మరీ అంత ఎక్కువ డిపెండ్ అవ్వకండి గైడ్ బుక్స్ మీద, కొంచెం. ఓకే, సో ఐఎమ్ నాట్ ఆస్కింగ్ యూ టు బికమ్ అన్ ఆంథ్రోపాలజిస్ట్, బట్ some kind of attachment should develop and some kind of engagement. All right, so that is the case. Any other questions? Any other questions? So if not for any questions, so the usual stuff, sir. Prehistory means Paleolithic, Neolithic, Chalcolithic. Okay, then after that Mesolithic is there, Iron Age is there, Indus Valley Civilization. These kind of topics are important from both archaeological perspective and historical perspective. We will study them with the necessary depth, sir. All right, so on this note, let's call it a day. So thank you for being here. I hope so that this orientation session has helped you people to have a better understanding about the subject and make a wise decision about your optional. So if it suits your mindset, then definitely you should go for anthropology. All right, some question? Someone said, sir? None? Okay, so you are talking among yourselves. I thought that you were talking with me. Okay, but fine. All right. టెక్స్ట్ చేశారా ఎవరన్నా? ఒకసారి చూస్తా. Yes, okay, that would be sufficient, Rakshita. MA anthropology level is that. Okay, but we'll try to simplify it. Don't because in the universities what happens is usually the thing which can be done in a short period of time, it would be extended for 2 years. But we will not do that. ఓకే, ఎంఏ లెవెల్ కావాలి కానీ 2 ఏళ్ళు చదవాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు. షార్ట్ స్పాన్లో ఒక 2 to 3 monthsలో మనం మైండ్ అప్ చేయడానికి ట్రై చేద్దాం. ఆల్ రైట్.
There are some books like
Yes, on tribal India it is there.
according to the syllabus.
See, we will provide a shortened form of the report. because there are many sections of the report which are not directly relevant for the exam. So కానీ దాని హైలైట్స్ ఓకే వాటిలో ఉన్న ఇంపార్టెంట్ డైమెన్షన్స్ ని మనం కంపల్సరీగా క్లాస్ లో టచ్ చేస్తాం. ఆ రిపోర్ట్స్ బేసిస్ మీదనే ట్రైబల్ ఇండియా మీద ఏ క్వశ్చన్ వచ్చినా సరే యూ హావ్ టు మెన్షన్ యాజ్ అ రిపోర్ట్ అండ్ గివ్ యువర్ సజెషన్. It is simple, it's not much difficult. All right, any other question? Sorry sir. Okay, so when are we going to leave? That is the only question. Fine then. Okay, we'll see again. Fine.